Yes, folks, flight shaming is here. Extinction Rebellion and people like Greta Thunberg are encouraging people not to fly in order to reduce their carbon footprint, which is absolutely ridiculous because if enough people did this, the world's economy would come to a screeching halt. But anyway, let's find out a bit about these nutters.
Hoki mai anō, welcome back to Q&A. Aviation is responsible for around 5% of global carbon emissions. And
The last I heard it was around 2.5%.
number of people flying only continues to grow. But around the world, a number of environmental groups are hoping to put a dent in that figure by encouraging tourists to boycott plane travel. The movement is being closely watched by our tourism industry, who say if it gathers momentum, the no-fly movement could put our largest export earner at risk. Here's Fiona Owen.
Now, would you like tea or coffee? It wasn't that long ago that flying was something really special. Something you saved up for, a treat for the lucky few. Air travel has increased eightfold in 40 years. Last year, airlines transported 4.3 billion passengers. Auckland University scientist Dr. Sean Hendy wasn't one of them. When he needs to get to Wellington for meetings, he takes the train. Hi, Sean.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, how's your trip?
Yeah, it was good, yeah. Lovely day coming down through the central North Island.
Isn't it a luxury, though, to be able to take the train? I mean, are you a privileged virtue signaller, Sean?
That was actually part of the point, was to signal to people. I did
And he's teaching your kids.
actually want to get a message across.
Sean Hendy is part of a wider movement which came out of Sweden, known as flygskam, or flight shaming. What does flight shaming mean? Who's being shamed, the airlines or the travellers?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think it is the travellers, I think, and you do see this. I mean, I was really conscious of not trying to shame people. I think that's the wrong way to go about it. It's about taking control of your own carbon footprint.
Globally, the airline industry is responsible for just under 3% of carbon dioxide emissions. Recently, Extinction Rebellion has focused its protest on the airline industry, but it was Swedish teen Greta Thunberg's voyage to America that exposed millions of people to the idea of flygskam.
I am not telling anyone what to do or what not to do. I'm just doing this because I want to do this.
Another Swedish climate warrior, Maja Rosen, leads the flygskam movement, or what she prefers to call We Stay on the Ground. She talked to Q&A via Skype about her latest push, the Flight Free 2020 campaign.
In our campaign, you pledge to take a year without flying, provided that 100,000 people promise to do the same thing. If enough people start acting, a change could happen really fast. And I'm really hoping that this will become a global movement.
So she wants tourist economies around the world to crash.
Hi, I'm Anna from Flight Free UK. We are asking 100,000 people to pledge not to fly next year.
I wonder if you could be one of those people that signed today.
The movement is now gathering strength in the UK and Germany, with a little pickup in the States. But what could that mean for a small country at the bottom of the world?
Well, if flight shaming took hold, it would stuff our tourist market up completely, in much the same way as the coronavirus is now.
Tonight on Prime News, the continuing cost of coronavirus as our travel industry loses around $50 million a week.
Yes, if flight shaming took hold, the same would happen. Now, as I go through the next couple of clips, I'll just change a few words in order to show you the similarity between the coronavirus story and flight shaming.
Good evening. The travel ban on foreigners arriving from China has been extended for another 8 days as the coronavirus outbreak continues to spread around the globe.
The growing economic impact has also prompted the government to put a plan in place, with Air New Zealand the latest airline to forecast tough times ahead. Katie Bradford has developments.
Now, international airline the latest in for a rough ride as coronavirus creates global economic turbulence.
As flight shaming creates global economic turbulence.
That's partly due to travellers cancelling or postponing long-planned holidays.
Due to climate change issues.
The cruise ship in Japan was a perfect vector for spreading the virus. So I probably cancelled the entire European trip, but I'll certainly cancel the cruise trip today.
Trips that are kind of optional, I've put some of those off, definitely.
Air New Zealand expects to take a hit this financial year of between $35 and $75 million.
Because people are worried about global warming causing bushfires.
It's also cutting capacity to Asia by 17% and suspending flights to South Korea until June.
Because of the travel bans, that's meant that there's been less movement of travellers.
Because of flight shaming, there's been less movement of travellers.
So as a result, that's had an impact on demand.
The International Air Transport Association's predicting a 13% decline in passengers this year.
Because climate change zealots refused to fly. Next clip.
Jobs and financial losses also being felt by tourism destinations.
Because climate alarmists are telling people the world is going to end in 10 years.
We do know that tourism attractions and hospitality providers have had to go to winter staffing levels.
Globally, everything from airlines to distilleries unable to sell whiskey to Italian fashion lines, all suffering.
It's a snowball. It's an effect that just keeps growing and growing depending on where you are in the industrial chain. It's widespread and it's going to get bigger.
As the climate change propaganda gets worse.
Back here, the Bankers Association is urging people in financial difficulty to talk to their banks. They could get help with anything from restructuring or suspending loan payments, budgeting services, or short-term financial help. The Finance Minister's warning that the shock to the economy may now go on for longer than initially hoped.
The further the virus spreads,
the further flight shaming spreads.
And the longer it lasts, the more we move towards scenario 2, where we'll see an impact right across 2020.
Now, folks, what I find strange is this. Obviously, coronavirus has reduced carbon emissions by far more than any of these flight shamers could have dreamed of. So why aren't they out there celebrating this? I haven't heard a word from any of them.